Well, welcome everyone to our new chat today. Today we've got Claire from the Soberholic.com. Welcome, Claire, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Fab. Right, who are you?
Who am
and
I?
What do you do?
Right, well, my name's Claire and I'm a sober coach. Now, a lot of people in the UK maybe haven't come across the term sober coach before, but it's, as it says on the tin, I promote and support people to live a sober life in a different way to what you maybe have heard, with AA and going to your GP that you have to stop drinking alcohol and it's, poor you and all of that. I've spun it on its head and I'm promoting everything that's great about being sober.
Fabulous. Right, you started Soberholic after quitting alcohol yourself. Now, you've got a fabulous story. Can you tell us it, please?
Yes. So I was a typical binge drinker, drinking, when I added it up, about 100 units a week. So shock horror, a lot of people don't even know what a unit of alcohol is. So that would probably be me drinking about, 10 bottles of wine across the course of a week, which sounds maybe shock horror to some people. But now that we've all been in lockdown, typical client of mine would be drinking at least a bottle of wine a night and more at weekends, which was exactly where I was. So I would be, drinking probably on a Thursday. My weekend would start a couple of bottles of wine, more on a Friday, Saturday. Just, I felt like I deserved it because I was running a business that didn't light me up. I had a property company and I just felt overwhelmed. I didn't have the skills that I needed and I didn't have the energy to kind of dig deep. I was just on a cycle of drink, regret, repeat. And it just really on a downward spiral, feeling like I didn't have the enthusiasm to open my emails and just the whole, I feel like this when I even think about that time in my life and just drinking to get through it. Really, that was where I was at. And my relationship was in tatters and I was overweight. My tolerance was increasing as my waistline was increasing like year on year. So I just started to think I need to do something about this. And I mean, like many people who I speak to, I try to cut down, making rules for myself that I would break. The normal one would be, I'm not going to drink through the week. And because of my business, because I would have either a good day or a bad day, the wine was always there, and it would be a case of, I'm not going to drink tonight. Okay, I'll have a drink tonight. I won't drink tomorrow. I'll have a drink tonight. I won't drink tomorrow. And if I would be lucky if I got 1 or 2 dry days a week. And it just wasn't long enough to pull myself right and feel better about myself, really.
What was the turning point for you? Like, what was the point where you decided, oh, enough is enough? Yeah, I've got to do something about it.
I think I had lots of their moments and it was just the self-loathing because I would make promises and then break them. And I think it was eating away at my self-esteem now at this stage. And I think I tried loads of fad diets, shakes and all the cutting out bread. I would go from week to week. 1 minute I'd be looking at my weight. The next minute I'd be looking at my mental health. And it just, I didn't get anywhere. And one day I was researching online and I stumbled across a fitness instructor and she'd quit drinking alcohol for a year and it had changed her life. And until that point, I'd never considered quitting. I'd always just been obsessed with cutting down. I wanted that magic moderation stage where you can just take it or leave it. And I couldn't get there. I couldn't get to that point. And so that was when it entered my head, the idea of quitting, right? And I sat with that idea for a few months because I couldn't imagine my life without it. It was ingrained in every area of my life. And I just couldn't see how I would not so much function, it was more socially that I wouldn't be able to move on without it. I couldn't see it.
Because how long have you been alcohol free for now?
I've been alcohol free completely for 2 years, but my journey started before that because what happened was a friend came back in my life and I had lost touch with her and she needed somewhere to live. At the time I was working in property, so I gave her a flat and I was really intrigued as to whether her issue was because of the alcohol, or the alcohol was her way of coping with the issues in her life, you know. And the more time I spent with her, I really couldn't figure out where the line was between her problem and my fun, right?
Yeah.
And it just got me questioning, is it fun? Was I having fun? Because I didn't feel like I was having fun on a Wednesday at work when I couldn't even open my emails, you know. And I think that was what started it. And we got our heads together, and I said, right, let's do this together. And she'd been through all the traditional forms of support, AA and non-residential rehab. And I actually went along to volunteer at the rehab centre that she had gone to. Now, I'd pretty much grown up with this lady because we'd been with each other through our 20s, and I knew that if this could happen to her, it could happen to me.
Yeah.
If I went to do the voluntary work at this rehab centre, I would never have walked in there. I mean, it sounds, yes, you can refer yourself, but it's not the type of place perhaps where you would look forward to going. And it just felt like it was all designed wrong. And I just wanted to see how I could create something that was like a positive way of getting sober, instead of all about the negative side of alcohol and the negative side of giving up.
Because I've looked at your website, and everything you've got on there is really positive. Because a lot of people, I think, they see as giving up alcohol, or you're giving up fun, and you're giving up, you know, nights out with your friends and things. But it doesn't mean that at all, does it? It's about sort of doing yourself, I don't know, just making things better for yourself, so you're not having the terrible feeling the next day. And just as you said, it's empowerment is the word that you use, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think that's kind of the message that I'm trying to get across, that if people are sitting and they're drinking and they're enjoying it, then my service isn't necessarily for you. It's more, no, I don't mean like that. When I was drinking, I was enjoying myself. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't sitting on a park bench with a brown paper bag, homeless, or you know, it wasn't like that. I was having a good time. I was drinking Prosecco with my girlfriends and having a good laugh. It was just, I couldn't keep it up. I couldn't keep doing that. And I couldn't use it as a crutch when I'd had a bad day, when I wanted to celebrate, when I wanted to commiserate. Every single area of my life, it was just there. It was hard to kind of to get away from it, I suppose. That was, and then of course the whole social aspect of when you say I'm not drinking, people don't like it. People get a little bit icky because they think that you're judging them. And often when you're drinking, you're surrounded by other people who are drinking at a similar level to you, but that doesn't mean everyone's drinking that much, you know.
Yeah.
It feels normal because you're there and you're doing that, but you need to break away and find other influences. And now that we're online, now that we've got, you know, since lockdown, it's like the world is such a smaller place. I think it's given my business the opportunity to really show up for women, because for women all over the globe now, in Australia, New York, Ireland, the UK. And it's just such a lovely way of saying, right, let's take a look at your life and how removing alcohol would positively impact all of the areas of your life. You know, who doesn't want to be a better, you know, better in their career, better mom, better, you know, in their family, more organized and just less chaotic. Really, that's what it is. It's giving me less.
Why do you think that people in general, then why is alcohol so important in people's lives? Why do they turn to it so much?
Yeah, I think it's just, I mean, one of the sessions on my blog post I'm happy to share in your group is women and alcohol. And that's why my target audience is specifically women. I mean, my avatars, these are my ladies that I use to tell to share my system, if you like. You start off stuck like Susie. Now, Susie believes that alcohol is the glue that's holding our life together, right? So if you were to suggest to her to give up, she would think you were absolutely crazy. So maybe my customer isn't Susie. My aim is to raise awareness for Susie. So if her relationship's in tatters, if her career's falling apart, if you know everything's going wrong, maybe she needs to look at what's in her glass, right? So it might be just awareness for her, but as you go to Ollie knows that something needs to change. She's observing other people and she's thinking, right, I know that something's not right. I want to change, but I don't know how to get from here to there. Maybe she doesn't have the direct influence of people in her life who don't drink. I didn't know anyone who didn't drink. You know, most of the time people don't drink. You go, oh, why? What's wrong with you? It's not just choice, is it? And you know, and Bessie is bold. She's probably tried. She knows the value of this, but she keeps slipping up. You know, that's where I was. And then Elsie, she maybe has enjoyed being locked down, being sober during lockdown, but she's panicking that how is she going to get back into society and back with her friends? You know, everyone's dying to get back together. So for her, she's starting to panic, thinking, well, how am I going to tell my friends that I don't want to go back to that life? You know, so it's support along all of these different ways. And then eventually you become rebalanced like Riley. And I think I'm almost there. Once I've convinced a few more ladies and they've been through my process, I feel like I'll be rebalanced. And it depends what that means to you. It could be, for me, I changed my career. It could be, and I've relocated. It could be whatever else comes up in your life that you maybe now have the energy and time to focus on. So very quickly, when I'm talking about alcohol, we're looking at the individual. It's like project you. What do you need now?
Yeah.
And often we're relying on alcohol because we have a lack in another area of your life. So that's what this is to uncover. It's like life coaching, really. It's life.
Yeah. I love the idea of the avatars. I think that's fab. And then you can easily identify with which one that you are.
Yeah, I've got a quiz on the website, actually, a quiz, so you can take the questions and it'll show you where you are on the sober process, who you have most in common with. They're called My 5 Pals. And the idea is it shows, like you say, the stages that you go through. And at any time, you can see where you are. And the way that these are circles, you can slip back, but it's not pass or fail. You've just slipped back one and you maybe need to focus a little bit and then, you know, keep going forward. So it helps to motivate ladies, but it's not, they can see that their mindset's changing. They're not here anymore. You can't go back to there, really.
I'll post a link on this this post and I'll put the link that takes you to that quiz, because I had a little go as well. I'm all right, actually. I'm not a tea drinker. But I said to you earlier, I did used to drink quite a bit when I was in a full-time job that I didn't really like, to be honest.
Exactly. And I think, like you, that was my thing. I was fed up with my work and I felt like I just wanted someone to fire me. It was my business. You know what I mean? And I just couldn't see a way out of it. I couldn't get out of it because I was drinking.
If somebody wanted to find out more information, I have put your website on there, but how can you help people with their journey? What specifically do you provide?
Okay, so I have a few different ways you can work with me. I do have a 45-day program, which is my signature program that I've worked really hard on. It's pretty much all of the bits out of the self-help books that I had lying in my office when I was sat there with my head in my hands, right? And I hadn't the energy to implement any of these activities. So vision boards, looking at your core values, thinking about, you know, what lights you up? What do you want for yourself? And often we don't take the time as women to stop and think, am I on the right path? Is this what I wanted for myself, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
And I want people to think of it like an introduction. It's like a snapshot of where you're at, right? And to have the program is delivered via email. So you get an email every day for 45 days. And you have the luxury at the moment that you can hit reply and you come straight to me. So if there's something specific going on for you, I can really tailor my support. So you would then become my sober pen pal. So
that's cool.
So that's how I'm doing it. So the program itself, it works out £5 a day. So it's less than a bottle of wine a day. For 225 quid, you have access to me for the 45 days and you have the program delivered. And it might be there might be a short video or an activity, a journal prompt. So I try to ask ladies to give time aside, maybe to get up half an hour early and light a candle and make it like your special time to work through the program. And I'm not sitting there looking at all the terrible drinks you've drank and all the mistakes you've made. We're not talking about that. We're looking forward and we're saying, right, we know why we're here. It's not your fault. We've been sold to by the alcohol industry. They've advertised it alongside handbags and alongside perfumes to make it seem glamorous and appealing to women. Because the reason why is because, you know, since we became, I suppose, equals, like you said before, they wanted a way how they were going to get the dosh out of our designer handbags, which is why they've got all the fruity ciders and the, you know, pink Prosecco's. Some of the bottles look good enough to have in a perfume counter.
Yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah.
And you know, when you're in the doctors and they're looking at your liver problems, they don't care whether you've been drinking expensive, posh, pretty drinks or you've been drinking, you know, white lightning cider. It's the same issue. It's the same problem.
Still alcohol. Yeah, you're right there.
But it's like we've had it wrapped up in a nice little bow, and so we've just bought into like Chambord. What's all that about? Like, do you know what I mean? It's mental.
I did actually. I said to you about my love with Disaronno. I did actually go and purposely buy the Disaronno bottles. I shouldn't use those, the actual trade name maybe, but just because of the packaging they had. Oh, it's a different label, and I was one of those people. Like, oh, lovely! I'll go and get it.
I love the Frixonet, that bottle with the Chrissy Crossy. Do you know the one I mean?
It's
pretty cheap Prosecco. It's not very expensive, but the bottle is just beautiful. And you're like, why did you do that to it? And because that was standing there and was seduced. It's marketing. We've been marketed. We don't do that over Skull Lager, do we?
No, that's true. And it made me realise, actually, I've just got visions of my shopping habits. And it's pink and it's sparkly. Yes, I'll have it. That's exactly what I'm like. I'm a marketer's dream.
It's things like that I'm bringing awareness to Susie, and Susie might go, you know what? Maybe she's right about this. Just to make you stop and think. You know, it's like at the supermarkets, us mums hate the idea, and I think they've stopped doing it now, where they have chocolate at the counter, you know, and the kids are in the trolley. They've stopped all that business. But if you go in, you kind of get in the shop, but you're hit with Prosecco offers and, you know, 3 for 2 bottles of this. And if you don't buy 6, you're going to waste 10 quid.
Yeah.
It's not right, man. It's not. And, you know, even in Scotland, they've got the minimum pricing unit. Similar to cigarettes, it's all hidden behind a shutter. Anyway, I could go on and on and on.
Oh, bless you. Right, okay, I've got some... we had 3 people get in touch to ask you some questions. And I have changed things around because I did say we'll be anonymous. First one is, Friday night is my worst night for having a drink. I'll think that I've had such a long week. I deserve to have a drink. And to be honest, it's what helps me relax. But I wake up on Saturday with regret because I feel so rubbish. How can I get out of that cycle?
Great question. So I would be suggesting, first of all, that you journal about, did she say she had a busy week all week and it's stressful?
Yeah, getting over a stressful week. So Friday night this is my reward time.
Okay, so I want you to my advice would be to journal around your busy, stressful week and try and identify what is it that's making it stressful. Is it a person? Is it the fact that you could be more organized? What would remove that stress, right? Because chances are she has probably drank that week as well, and it might be the hangover or the feeling from Tuesday's bottle of wine that's making her feel like our work is so stressful.
Yeah.
So to find out what is it that's making her stressful. And I get it, yes, she feels she deserves it. So straight away, I would be making a note that she looks at alcohol as a reward.
Yeah.
Right? And I want her to ask herself on Saturday morning, if you think it's a reward and it made you relax, this is still part of your reward, how shit you feel on a Saturday. So does that counteract the relaxation feeling that you felt on Friday night? So you're really unpicking it and thinking like, a little bit like you would with value for money. If you bought a dress and it fell apart after one wear, you wouldn't go, do you know what I mean? You would look at it, was that worth it? Did it work? Yes, it was cheap, but it was a cheap fix for her to feel relaxed, but long term,
yeah.
And it's about really looking, and the best way to do it is to journal. Because when you journal, at the time, you're full of the feelings, and you go away and you come back. It's just your thoughts. So you read it back and you go, oh my God, do I really think that? It's really powerful to do that.
Well, you can reread that, can't you? You can go back and reread it as many times, can't you?
Next time you need to be thinking, it's Friday's coming up, maybe plan ahead. What else can you put in place as a reward? And it might be just the habit of pouring your glass, into a wine glass. I have sparkling water still in a wine glass on a Friday night, so it feels different. So you can do other things to trick yourself.
And there's other ways to reward yourself, isn't there? There's like a nice long bath. There's, treating yourself in another way.
Depending on what it is what makes her tick. Now, if she'd been on my program, it might be that we would know a little bit more about her, or she would be we'd say, well, what about this? What about if you use the money, put it to one side towards that thing? So it's just about coaching people through and holding their hand through it. Parenting yourself, distracting yourself.
Lovely. I got another one. Another two more. My partner can't just have one drink. I'll think that I've had no, wrong one, hang on, sorry. He will start the evening saying, oh, just a couple. And then by the end of the evening, he'll be snoring on the sofa after having too many. It's not every night, just the weekends, but it's ruining the weekends because he feels rough the next day. I don't mind him having a drink, but why do it in the first place? So I think this person's trying to get across that, it's just ruining the weekend. That's the key point that I picked up on that. It's ruining the weekend, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And they don't mention whether they drink as well. I know it's like, it might be that they don't drink or that they do, but I can remember feeling like this when I was trying to moderate, or if I successfully moderated and managed just to have half a bottle of wine and then the other half went too far. You're like that on the high horse, aren't you? And you're telling everybody else how to behave.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go down very well. It causes friction. What worked for me, I mean, she doesn't say whether she's drinking as well. I'm presuming everyone's a woman, sorry, whether that's right or not.
That's all right.
It might be, to just, when I was newly sober and my husband was still drinking, I very quickly realized the best way was to develop a knowing smile. So when he says he's having one or two, it's not going to turn out like that. So you just smile and nod. But the next morning when they're dying and ill in their bed, you have to be up and you have to be promoting how wonderful sober life is. It's not good you getting up and kicking the dog because you're pissed off.
Yeah, no, good idea, yeah.
They're going to look at you and go, well, sober looks a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
You need to be shown. Yeah. And it's kind of a little bit like you've got to divide yourself. You're in this a little bit on your own, I'm afraid. So you can't push someone into it. Trust me, I've tried.
Yeah, they've got to want to.
They've got to want it. The only way is to be the lighthouse and for it to drip feed into them. Now we'll happily share a bottle of fizzy water. If I suggested it to him, if I said to him on Wednesday, Friday night, we're going to share a bottle of fizzy water, he would come home with 2 bottles of red wine.
Yeah.
You have to remove yourself. And as well, why is his hangover spoiling your weekend? You should make your plan and do it, because the minute he feels like he's missing out, that's when he'll.
That's really good advice, actually. It's really good.
It's hard at first. But the best thing to do is get in front of other sober people and observe, like Ollie, because even if you're trying to get him or your partner or her sober, if you can see how other people conduct themselves around their partners, it'll help you, because digging your heels in and nagging and complaining makes it worse.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Last one. Since lockdown, I've started to have a glass of wine in the evening to help me relax, and this is quite a common story at the moment in lockdown. I don't want this to continue. I saw Claire's picture. It's the one, if anyone hasn't seen, it's one where it shows you before and after. It's in the post. So look at this picture, and I feel like her on the left at the moment. I've gone sluggish and horrible, and I feel I've put on weight. My hubby tells me to just stop drinking, but I'm struggling. What is my first step?
Yeah, it is hard, isn't it? And again, back to journaling and really finding out what it is that's going to keep you going. So what motivates her? I imagine from the short message, it's weight loss, right? But I need to be clear that that was never my main focus. So those pictures were taken 3 years apart, but I wasn't like on a diet, if that makes sense. I just stopped drinking something that was making us fat. But it doesn't happen overnight. So your body's not going to click straight back into shape. But if it's 600 calories in a bottle of wine, you can do the maths and you can realize that very quickly that adds up. And that doesn't include the takeaways and the bags of crisps.
Well, that's it, the bags of crisps. As soon as you start having a glass of wine, it's like, oh, I have a bag of crisps now, we'll have some sweets, or order a takeaway. And it's all the other stuff. And then obviously the next day then it's a fry up, isn't it? Or I'm being stereotypical now, but in my house it would be a fry up.
It would be. Or, you know, the same sort of thing. Salt, you know, you want that and you need that. And then you just feel shit for a few days because you've ate rubbish food. So you don't get outside. It's the first domino. It is the first domino in any of this, right? And so obviously I have to say the program is the first step, but take a step closer into my world. I've got a free group where I turn up most days, and obviously my program would be the first place for her to start.
I'll post all those things on with this video post as well. But thank you so much, and because it's been great to see people sort of interacting and asking the questions as well, because that's the whole point to this group, is people to get advice and support and just be signposted to places. And obviously now they've seen you, they know that, you know, this is the person behind the business, and the kind of support and the advice and also the experience that they're going to get, because you've obviously been there, and that's the most important thing.
I just want to share one more thing, Emily, though.
Yeah, sure.
I do on my website and on my Facebook, I show up and I'm very, very positive, and I'm, you know, I want everyone to want this so that they've got a better quality of life, but there is a really serious message into here. And I mean, I'm happy to share that I lost my friend, the friend who I started this journey with. I lost her at the beginning of the lockdown, and I couldn't get to her. You know, maybe it was too late. Maybe I feel like she died of shame because people stay stuck. They stay stuck like Susie, and things are going wrong for them, and they don't know how to reach out. So if you're stuck and I'm all laughing with my bright lipstick on, that's because I'm trying to show you the benefit of being sober. I do respect people's confidentiality, and I'm really happy to take people's, you know, inbox messages. It doesn't all have to be standing in your bra on Facebook. You know, I'm doing that to get people's attention.
Yeah.
But I don't need anyone to think that they have to come out on Facebook, you know, because people are very precious and very private.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say that, you know, if that's you, don't think that I'm not for you. I'm just being out there because I need to share my mission, right?
Well, that's it. I'm really sorry you lost your friend. I'm really sorry to hear that.
It just made me more determined with this. So
yeah, that's it. Fuels you, doesn't it? And makes you more passionate about what you're doing. And that's the kind of thing people need to see and hear when they're sort of going through their own journey, that somebody understands.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been fabulous.
Thank you.
And I hope you have you again on in the future, and we'll talk about something else relating with the alcohol as well. But thank you so much. It's fabulous. And if anyone's got any questions, you can pop it in the comments box. And also, if you want to contact Claire, I'll post up the information for you as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Emily.